Good morning. Today is Wednesday, April 6th, and this recording is for those of you who missed the class on Wednesday because you were absent. Hey, we are doing at the end of chapter 2, which we're in the last lesson. We have a scientific argument that we're going to write today. So it's important that I kind of take a little bit more time and explain exactly the activities that we work through today so that you've got all the information you need so you can write your scientific argument. So first of all, I'm going to have you go back into Schoology, and I've got 4 PDFs down here in today's folder. The increasing, decreasing deaths in the moon jelly population, the Glacier Sea evidence cards A through D, and populations and resources, chapter 2, scientific argument. All 4 of those PDFs, would you please go ahead and take the time right now, put those in good notes, and then come on back. All right, we're in chapter 7, or I'm sorry, we're in lesson 2, activity 7, so 2.7. And really the only thing we're doing today in Amplify is this warm-up. This is the first time that we're being able to take a look at the Glacier Sea food web so we can see what the resource population of the moon jellies is, which is the zooplankton, and what the consumer population, and that's the sea turtle. And so the prompts are what could cause the births to increase and the deaths to decrease in the moon jelly population. And just as a reminder, I want to show you, we've got these 2 claims. The population increased because the births increased, and claim number 2, the populations increased because the deaths decreased. And so the warm-up question is just asking, in your idea, looking at that food web, what do you think the possibilities are? Like, what could have caused the births to increase and the deaths to decrease? Go ahead and pause the video, take a second to answer those 2 questions, and then come on back. All right, so hopefully what you're able to identify is the only way that there could be more births in the jelly population is if they reproduce more and they need more ESMs to reproduce. And so therefore an increase in the zooplankton would have to lead then to an increase in the moon jelly population. And as far as what could lead to fewer deaths, the only thing that could lead to fewer deaths is if there were less sea turtles. And so if there were less sea turtles, then they don't need to eat as many moon jellies. The sea turtles don't require more ESMs. And so they would not eat as many moon jellies and the deaths would decrease, or there would be fewer deaths. All right, so we're going to model that. So get out of Amplify, come on back into Good Notes, and I'm actually going to go to my pictures so I can mark on mine. And we'll go ahead and take a look at increasing the births, okay? So what you can do is notice that we've got 2 populations here. I've got the zooplankton, whoops. Okay, that's what I want. I've got zooplankton and I've got moon jellies. We have to have both of those because we're looking at how a change in one would affect a change in the other. Okay, so we're going to model stability first. So if there were 6, remember we did this before, if I had 6 moon jellies to start with, and I had 2 births and 2 deaths, then I would have 6 to end with, and that is stable. I'm going to show that on the other side for the moon jellies. We had 6 to start with, we had 2 born, 2 die, and so now we have 6, so it's stable. Now, we need to take a look and try and model populations during the moon jelly population increase. So we had said if the zooplankton population increased, then the moon jelly population would increase. So let's go ahead and just increase it by 1 just to make it easier. So I'm going to write in 3 births. Ooh, my B's are bad. And I'm going to have the same number of deaths just to make it easy. So I had 6 plus 3 minus 2 is 7. So my zooplankton did increase. And that will lead to an increase in the moon jelly population. So I want to show the same thing. I had 3 new births and 2 deaths. So I would have 6 plus 3 minus 2 is 7. So I did show that I had an increase. Now the last little piece on this is I want you to take a look down at the key. we've got a new thing that we can model, and that's to draw dots to show energy storage molecules, okay? So we know that ESMs come from the resource population and they go to the consumer population, right? That's what this little arrow is for. But we need to model that. So in a population when it's stable, I'm just going to put 2 little dots here, okay? So we have just a certain amount of ESM that are going through. But if my zooplankton increases and therefore my moon jelly increase, that's because more ESMs are being transferred through. So when we look at this model, it's really easy for us to see why the moon jelly population would increase. And that's the point of this model. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one. Let's do the decreasing deaths. So I'm going to have you guys pause this video and then you try it and then match it with mine and see if it is the same. Okay, so thinking about if the deaths decrease, that means there are fewer deaths. Again, I'm going to mark this up. Actually, I don't think I chose yet to mark it. Let me edit it. Okay, so I've got 6 jellies plus 2 minus 2 is 6. I've got 6 turtles plus 2 minus 2 is 6. That's stable. I'm going to show that I've got 2 ESMs going through, and that part of the model is good. Now, the moon jelly population is going to decrease, but I can't mark up my moon jelly yet. The turtles have to change first. So I've got to show a decrease in the turtle population. So I'm only going to do 1 birth because I always have to do at least 1, and I'm going to have 2 deaths. So I've got 6 plus 1 minus 2 is 5. So if the turtle population is decreased, they're not going to eat as many moon jellies. So then my moon jelly population, the deaths are going to decrease. There will be fewer deaths. So I'm going to write in the same number of births. Okay, so I've got 2 births. But my deaths are going to be fewer. So I'm only going to do 1. So I had 6 plus 2 minus 1. And you'll see that I have 7. So I have less leatherback turtles and more moon jellies. And then lastly, I want to show if I have less leatherback turtles, they don't need as many ESMs. And so therefore, not as many moon jellies are dying. So you're going to take this information and let's go ahead and I'm going to have you look at this. The kids had these evidence cards and we talked about which one was stronger, which one was weaker. Let me show you something really quickly. I think you can do this on your own because it didn't take them very long to do it, but I'm going to highlight something real quick, okay? First of all, evidence card A and B are talking about the zooplankton. And evidence cards C and D are talking about the sea turtles. So if you go through and you look at the evidence cards, there's only going to be one evidence card that is the strongest. Okay, so which card, A or B, is stronger? I'm going to give you a second to look through. So after looking at evidence card A and B, you can see that both of them tell me that scientists gathered data in different locations in the Glacier Sea. And they both concluded that the population was stable and then it started to increase, which is exactly what we need to see, right? That's what we modeled, that the zooplankton had to increase. Here's the difference, and I'm going to use red here to show it. So in evidence card A, they gathered samples from 6 different locations throughout Glacier Sea. And in evidence card B, they only stuck along the coast. And so if you're trying to find the best, remember the definition of sample is part of the whole. If you're trying to find the best piece of evidence, it would have to be evidence card A, because we've got all of these different areas. You know, moon jellies aren't going to be just along the coast. They're going to be all throughout that area. So evidence card A is the strongest. And if I look at evidence card C and compare that to D, if you even just look at it, you can tell that evidence card C has more data. So that's, more sample points. That's stronger. Let's make sure that they both say that the turtle population decreased. And sure enough, it says right here that it was stable and then started to decrease. This one says it too. Oh, this one says it stayed stable. Well, holy cow, this one is bad evidence. Throw that out. So now you have a choice. We're not going to use this one either. You're either going to use evidence card A or evidence card C on your scientific argument. Here's the thing, we don't have any additional evidence to say one is better than the other. We really don't. We can't really throw out evidence card C. It's the only piece of evidence that we have. We really don't have anything contradicting or refuting that. That being said, let me be done with this, and I'll come to this. That being said, here is your scientific argument. You're going to use race to answer the question. You cannot use both. Do not say, well, it could be claim number 1 and it could be claim number 2, because that's not making a claim. You need to choose one. If you're going to use claim number 1 and you're going to say the reason why the population increased was because of an increase in the number of births, then you're going to use evidence card A to support. So that's going to be your evidence. If you're going to say claim 2, then that will be card C. But only pick one. Don't argue both. That's very weak. It's very wishy-washy. We don't want to do that. Let me talk about your directions. Use race. So you're going to restate an answer. Hang on. You're going to restate and answer the question. Here's the question. And then either this one or this one is your answer. Okay? Then you're going to cite the evidence. That's either evidence card A or evidence card C. You're going to tell me what's on there. And then you're going to explain by using key concepts from chapter 2. So it shouldn't be very long. You're only using one piece of evidence. That's it. This is a formative assessment, not a summative, but it's worth 20 points, which is twice as many as your formatives are normally worth. All right? When you are finished, you can go ahead and hand this in. And if you have any questions, just email me, okay? All right, you guys. Talk to you. Hopefully I see you tomorrow. We'll talk to you later.